right, today we're talking about the Pittsburgh approach, and it's got me talking like this. How, if you work hard, you foster deep relationships, and you talk to everybody, you're going to do well in real estate. And joining me to talk about this, take a deep dive, if you will, is my partner in crime, Danielle Dojcak. Thank you for joining me today, Danielle.
Thank you, Eddie, for having me.
No problem. It's my pleasure. Question for you. Should I keep this accent up the entire time, or should I let people down and have them hear my real voice?
I feel like I'm having a family reunion right now.
Well, I think it's always a family reunion when we get together. So, Danielle, I want to kick things off by talking about hard work. So when people hear about our hometown, we're both from Bethel Park, which is a suburb of Pittsburgh. People like to talk about hard work. So, opening question, how has hard work helped you in your real estate career journey?
Well, growing up, college was not a possibility. So I had family members that were in the real estate industry. And so starting around third grade, I started to go with my sister-in-law to the office. And it was a path that I could take and have a professional career without having a college degree. And so I knew that in order to make it, I was going to have to work really hard at it. So in high school, I took the classes to get my real estate license and actually got my license just as I was graduating high school. So
that doesn't surprise me because Danielle, I've known Danielle since, I was this big and she was this big, friends with my little sisters. And she was always, you were always old for your age. Is that a fair assessment?
That's what I'm told.
Except for now, You're young for your age.
Thank you. Yes.
Yeah. So we flip that later on. You're young for your age. So take me to this though. You're taking your real estate classes in high school. Height has, if we're in a world where height is a really good thing, it's never been a strong point of yours. What was that like?
Being short?
No, being short, young, and in real estate class.
Oh, well, it was actually quite a challenge. I got my real estate license and I apparently looked quite young when I was, 19 years old. And so I often had to take my broker, Bob Boss, with me on listing appointments because, people were genuinely a little nervous, handing over the sale of their home to somebody who looked young enough to be their grandchild. So, looking back on it, I see pictures of myself back then, and God bless all those people for taking a chance on me. But I worked really hard.
Yes, and I'm sure you never let them down. So hard work, that's part of the theme of what we're talking about today. So to what degree have you gotten where you are running two amazing offices, fostering, generating all these different careers in real estate, being a coach, a mentor, a teacher, a friend, a confidant? To what extent do you owe that all to hard work?
100% of it. It's really hard in this industry to find your motivation because you wake up and, it's easy to hit that snooze button and not get yourself out of bed and to be motivated. And what I find is a major obstacle for a lot of agents in the industry is treating this like a business. And I grew up in a town where hard work was a must. And my father was blue collar. And all of my family members are entrepreneurs. Nobody worked for anybody but themselves and had their own businesses. And the only way to make that happen was to work hard at it every single day.
So I think you're selling yourself a little short in the sense of it's not 100% hard work because you're also very intelligent, you're very endearing, and that's played a big role in your success as well. And so I want to focus on an aspect of that, which is your ability to connect with people. So I'd love to take that all the way back to the beginning and talk about how connecting with people is made easier when you seemingly are able to talk to anybody. That's a skill that you have. Where does that come from?
Do you know what the license plates say in Pennsylvania? You got a friend in PA.
I'm on the spot. You got a friend in PA, yeah.
You do. So every person I meet is a friend until proven otherwise. So my agents, everybody I've met in this industry, from clients to agents, have been a friend. And this industry is focused mainly on relationships and relationship building, and that is something that I think just comes naturally. I come from a very large family. Throw a rock in Pittsburgh, hit a relative. Mm-hmm. I once told Heinz Ward that, and he came back and told me that in fact is true. He found them all. So we are essentially in the business of developing relationships. And so if you can develop relationships with people and talk to just about anybody, you will be able to do well in this industry. In fact, I remember the night before my wedding, I was at Foodland. You remember Foodland, Eddie? Mm-hmm. I was there with... I was there with a friend of mine from Virginia. She was coming up for our wedding, and we were in the checkout line. And I was talking to this woman for about 5 minutes, and we walked over to the door together and carried on a conversation for another 10 minutes. And then we went our separate ways. And my friend said, "Well, you didn't introduce me to your friend." And I said, "Oh, I don't know who that is." And she said, "What do you mean? You just sat there and talked to her for like 15 minutes. You don't know who she is?" I said, "No." Yeah. So, you have to have that ability in this industry. You have to be able to get up, get out, meet people, have conversations, and really develop those conversations into relationships and lasting friendships, which is definitely how I built my business.
Fascinating similarity here to the supermarket talk. True story. My two business partners, Nick Pasquini, Sean Military, Nick grew up in the same hometown as Danielle and I. I had been calling Nick. He graduated Penn State 2 years after me. I'd been calling him to recommend him for this job. He had not been calling me back. The night before he was going to start another job in Atlanta, my dad ran into his mom at Giant Eagle, which we call the Big Bird. And my dad said, he said to Nick's mom, "Hey, why isn't Nick calling Eddie back? He's got a good opportunity." She goes home, "Why aren't you calling Eddie back?" He reluctantly, begrudgingly, calls me, ends up stopping in Northern Virginia, never made it to Atlanta to take that job because he started working here, and the rest is history. So, lesson is that these small talks, these small but meaningful conversations have consequences, and it's great lessons in terms of how to grow your business. So, let's go back to Bob Boss, though. So you go on a listing presentation as a height challenged 19-year-old, and you win the listing, maybe partially because your Bob Boss mentor was there for you. But how do you then make the transition from someone that they pick because you were there with your mentor to someone who's going to win that business and then earn the referrals moving forward?
Confidence, knowing my industry, being educated on it, constantly staying up on relevant topics in the market, involving myself in all aspects of the industry so that whenever I would have a conversation, I could have an intelligent one. And in gaining that confidence, I was able to, go on a listing presentation and address all the concerns of the client. And that just definitely helped me to build referral business from it. It also didn't hurt that, a lot of my family, my SOI was built in. The true challenge came when I moved to Virginia and I had to start at scratch. I didn't have an SOI. I didn't have anybody that I knew. And then I had to really learn how to build a business. And I have Lisette Turner actually to thank for that, because I started out in her office when I moved to Virginia. And she was not the broker. She was an owner, but she was not a broker. So she saw that, I was trying to make it go, and she knew where I came from and how the path had been for me. And she really showed me how to build a sphere of influence. And so I learned a lot from her. And this industry has always been full circle for me. So I went from being with a reputable brand of Century 21 to looking for something with more technology and went to another company. And then I realized the importance of brand because my business just fell apart. And around that time is whenever I ran into you. And you were like, "Yo, what's going on? Why are you over there at that office? It's right next to mine." So yeah, Century 21, I recognized the value of the brand and came to Century 21 Redwood, and my business tripled. And now going full circle, Lisette's now with Century 21 Redwood. So how awesome is that?
It is. So it's very apparent that hard work has been a big part of your success. Can you cite some examples of maybe when it's been a hindrance, when you look back in time and you wish you would have taken more time to smell the proverbial flowers, if you will?
No. This industry, I'm very passionate about this industry. I love my work. So, I mean, not to sound, weird, but this is an opportunity for me to be involved. Real estate is the only career that I know of that you get to do your favorite things, to meet people, which is one of my favorite things to do, develop relationships, which is one of my favorite things to do, and to encompass that into a career that I love. So stopping to smell the roses, I would just be anxious and nervous all the time, thinking I'm forgetting to do something. So if you enjoy your work, you don't work a day in your life. And that is something my mother and my father instilled in me. So that's how I live.
I love it. I'm gonna put that on my bathroom mirror. So hearing this takes me back to an early memory where Sean and I were out showing properties. We came across one that was listed by one of your old companies, and in fact, by one of your mentors. And we called him and said, hey, our clients love it, but they want to get this off the market on a Thursday. What should we do? And your mentor told us this, said, Eddie, you know where I am right now? I said, no. She said, I'm on a boat. And you know where I'm going to be on Sunday? On the same boat. But you know where I'm going to be on Monday? Meeting with my clients. And I will present your offer to them then. And that was like, she's killing me. Now my clients, they got the house on Monday. She was right. It was still there. But that mentality has never been one of my strong suits either.
Not a strong suit of mine either. But it worked for her. And she's very successful. She had a successful career. And, but I honestly think that whom you're speaking of, she worked very, very hard for a very, very long time before she learned that. And I'm not there yet. So I know that work-life balance is very important. My kids are grown. They're in college now. So, work is a distraction, a healthy distraction, I think, anyway, something I enjoy doing. So.
And you don't have a boat, but you do have an RV, true?
True. That is true.
Yep. Aside from your hard work, I want to talk about how you genuinely care about people. So I know that served you as a real estate agent. Let's talk about how it makes a difference with your ability to mentor, train, and coach your agents.
Just as my clients, I took a vested interest in their success. Whatever their goal was my goal. As a client, I felt that way whenever I had a client that wanted to purchase a home. I was there to help them make that happen. As, a broker for my agents, it's the same thing. I want to see them succeed in this industry. I had some great mentors along the line. I don't know that I wouldn't be here if I hadn't had, all the way from my sister-in-law to you all. I have met some pretty incredible people in this industry. So I want to be that person for somebody else. I remember sitting floor duty in Bob Boss's office and watching people come in with like all of this crud on their shoulders, stressed out, just not knowing what to do. And I remember Bob sitting down with them and really going over, a course of action to help them get to where they wanted to go. And I thought, that's what I want to do someday. I want to be that person. So I get to be that person. I get to be involved as much as they'll let me in helping them to grow their business. My favorite thing to do after a new agent joins is sit down and develop their business plan. And it actually boggles the mind. You all taught me that, the importance of business planning. I had goals, but really drawing out a business plan and treating my real estate business like a business, because nobody would open a restaurant or a store or any other type of industry without drawing out a plan. Banks require business plans, so there's a necessity. You wouldn't just charter a boat to go to the islands. You would need a map and all kind of tools to get you there. So I feel like a business plan is basically chartering out how you're going to arrive at your goal. And I love sitting down because a business plan is so unique. It's as unique to an agent as their fingerprints. Everybody has their strong suits, and figuring out what strong suits they have will help to determine the lead sources that they want to bring into their business. and then, breaking it down into the actual tasks that they'll do. It's one of my favorite things to do.
I love it. And you care, and that's why you help them plan. Is caring too much ever a liability?
No, I don't believe so. Okay.
It's
a driver for me. I get to celebrate their successes. Their successes feel like my successes. So, and I take it to heart when they're having a difficult time, whether it's just with a transaction or, if they're in a slump in their business. I love to sit down and help them to charge them back up again and get them back on track. But I do take an interest in where they are, and I struggle when they struggle. So I want to make sure that, none of us are struggling. We're all doing well.
Now, since the pandemic, real estate has become what I'd argue is kind of like a 50-50 in-person virtual business, at least in terms of running a brokerage. Do you feel that you're able to connect with people as well in a virtual setting as you can face-to-face?
I think there's a time and a place for both. I feel like in a lot of situations, you really should be face-to-face. But, I also know that I wouldn't want somebody to drive to the office to sit and meet with me and then waste that time that they could be using on being productive. So there's definitely a time to come in and be one-on-one and in person, but there's also the ability, if you're running into a difficult situation, to jump on a quick screen share or just talk through something with them. I think video is a fantastic way to be able to do that and still feel, you miss a lot over the phone or through text. Text is probably my least favorite form of communication.
Yeah, I get that. It's sometimes can be hard to pick up nuance on text. Yeah, body language. Although from an efficiency perspective, I certainly love getting questions answered by text. So there's a time and a place.
Correct.
Talking about virtual in-person made me thinking I love spin cycles. And so every time I'm doing a soul cycle class, I think to myself, there's so much like human energy that is passing back and forth that I don't get when I'm in the virtual Peloton world. But then I do a Peloton run. I think this is just so much more efficient being in my basement versus going to a studio. And so I think that it really is a soul cycle in a Peloton world. All right, Danielle, final question for you. You coach, you manage, you mentor a lot of Ravens fans. As a diehard Steeler fan, how does that feel?
Well, it can be dangerous at times, actually. No, we have fun with it. I think it's great. You would actually be surprised. We have probably just as many Steeler fans in our office as we do Ravens fans. So,
but when it's 4th and 2, there's 20 seconds left on the clock, and only one team can win. It's
definitely the Steelers.
That's always fun, but thinking about the well-being of the other side can be difficult. I can circle back to Caps Pens games when I knew that there were tons of agents that I care about, and that, quite frankly, I make my liability that I make my livelihood with. And the idea that they were pulling against Sidney Crosby just sort of was utterly painful for me. But thank you for joining me today, Danielle. Thank you for sharing what makes you an amazing mentor, an amazing teacher, an amazing coach, and an amazing representative of this great company we've built here at Redwood. And I look forward to having you back and talking about how the Pittsburgh approach can transform lives in real estate. Thanks, Danielle.
Thanks, Eddie.
I look forward to having you back. And if you want to hear more videos with less Pittsburgh accents even, make sure that you hit the like button and you subscribe so you'll be notified when we get more videos. Thanks.